back to the channel, Wind here. In today's video, we're going to discuss how to enable list calculations on list reports in ServiceNow. Have you ever wanted to just quickly see totals, averages, or counts directly in ServiceNow lists rather than going to have to create reports and then do the sum, the total sum? Well, in this video, I'll show you how to enable list calculation in seconds. So today we're going to cover a very super useful feature that can save you time when working with data. So let's take a look at these incidents here. So I've added a numeric field. Now this only works in numeric fields, and I'll go through the ins and outs, but essentially we have a numeric field here, reassignment count. Now it'd be great to see, for this particular set of data, so all the incidents that are assigned to service desk, what was the total reassignment count for all of these incidents, and what's the average, essentially, what's the minimum value, what's the maximum value? Well, you could do this directly on the list view. So if I scroll down, showcase it working, we can see here the average for these instances is 1.25, essentially on reassignment count. We can see the minimum is 0, so there are some that haven't been reassigned essentially. The maximum is 2, and the total sum of reassignments across the team, or across the group of instances that we've essentially defined here is 15. Right, so how do I do this? Very simple. So we're gonna right click on the numeric field, so reassignment count, right click it, go to configure, list calculations, and essentially here you can select which ones to show: total, minimum, maximum, average. And these are the 4 choices you have. These are the out of the box ones you get. So essentially I can untick this, so I'm just going to have a total value just to showcase this. Essentially what it will do now, once it reloads, okay, so if I go back to, let's just refresh the page. Okay, let me try going back, and then here we go. Okay, so we're back to this page, and I can see here the sum is 15. So now I've only got the total, I've removed the average, I've removed the min and the max. So let's talk about the this list calculation. So what are list calculations? Well, list calculation enable users to perform real-time calculations on columns within a list view. So you essentially can get the count of records, the sum of values, as well as the average, the mean value of the numeric field. So when to use list calculations? So essentially the best time to use this is when you want to get quick insights without building full reports. The total number of incidents, the average resolution time, sum of costs. The steps to enable list calculations we've covered, so we went by step, very simple. You navigate to any list essentially, and then you essentially add a numeric column, right? It's the one we use was reassignment count. The key step is then just right click on that particular column, right? Then show list calculation, go under the configure context menu, and we'll go over that in a little bit just to showcase where is that located essentially. And then you'll see count, sum, and average, and min, max. Right, some important notes essentially. Okay, list calculations only work on numeric fields, so users must have access to the data, and the performance may be impacted on large data sets. So you essentially do want to filter out. So as you saw in our very quick demo, we essentially only showed incidents that are assigned to a service desk group. So try and make it as small as possible, essentially, so that there is no performance issues. Now, some common issues: if the option is not visible, definitely check your user permissions. I'll show essentially what check that the context menu is doing, but from my understanding, it is essentially admins will be able to do this. Ensure the column is numeric, because if you don't see that results or the UI action generally, it's because it has to be a numeric field for this to work. Okay, and slow performance. Doing this on large data sets could be very impactful. It could take a long time, so reduce the number of records using filters. Best practices: apply filters before enabling the calculations. Use it for quick insights rather than detailed reporting. Combine it with grouping for better analysis, and avoid running calculations on very large data sets. Now, let's talk a little bit before we wrap it up where this context menu is, because it might be worth you having a look at it just so you understand it better. So essentially, when I right click here, I can see this is on configure. So what we essentially can do, this is called a context menu. So the way you can find it, if you type in context menus, you'll find it under UI context menus. And I'm essentially just going to go and search for configure. Now, this is the context menu that's shown, and it's essentially the parent menu. So underneath this context menu, once we open it, we have a bunch of other context menus. So the one we're going to look at is the list calculation. So when I select this context menu, I can see here that this is the condition essentially for it to appear and be visible. And essentially it is accessing a ACO to check if the current user has right to essentially configure your personalized list. So essentially, I believe this is an admin role, so you will need to do that, but you can check that as well. Now, this is essentially what the script runs, allows you to essentially do the aggregate of the field, and that's basically it. So I hope that helped. List calculations are simple yet powerful feature. I feel like it's a hidden gem, so I really hope this helped cut down some of that reporting time. If you like the video, please give it a like and subscribe for more ServiceNow tutorials. Thank you. Bye.